So we're about to leave town, not taking the RV. It's gonna get below freezing. So figured I'd go ahead and winterize it, show you how. Step 1, turn off the water pump. 2, drain the fresh water. Go ahead and open up one of your faucets. Now for this part, let's go ahead and empty our low point drains. Most of these are located under your trailer. Step 5 is gonna be drain the hot water heater. Before I do that, I got a couple steps I do. Don't necessarily have to do them, but I do sometimes come out here, just let some air in so that some of the hot water heater just goes ahead and drains out through the low points. Then I'll take the plug out. And that way just a little bit comes out. Then I'm gonna go ahead and bypass the hot water heater as part of draining it and take the plug out. Hot water heater bypass is under the sink, right up against the hot water heater. So I just have to reach in there, find the little valve, and turn it. There you go. For the last part of draining the hot water heater, I'm just gonna remove the nylon plug, let it finish draining, put the nylon plug back in, and that way the hot water heater will be sitting empty while we winterize. My water pump is under my slide, right past this vent. That's where my bypass will be, and it's also where I'll find the tube I used to bypass to the antifreeze. Now, this had screws on it. You could screw it off, or you could try to take this off. It has a little gate, another gate in there. You'd have to reach in there. It was a pain. So I just replaced those screws with magnets. So when I get ready to do this every year, I just pull it off. Once I pull that off, it's real easy for me to just reach in there and turn the valve. There, bypassed. And again, I reach under the slide and I pull out this tube that's now bypassed to on the pump. I'm gonna put this in my antifreeze, and that'll allow me to pump antifreeze through the lines. Back at the water pump, we'll just turn this on. Now, I haven't put my low point drains in, so I'm only gonna hit this for a second to allow enough to flow through it to hit the low drains. Then I will put the low drains back in place, and that way I have antifreeze all the way to the bottom. Done. It's late in the day, getting a little dark, but I just came under here, made sure that pink is what that little bit of time running is coming out of the low point drains, and with that, I can go ahead, tap these back off, and not worry about it freezing under here, under the underbelly. With my low point drains in place, I can now turn on the water pump and go around and make sure it circulates through the camper by running all my water out faucets. So that includes the sink, the bathroom sink, the shower, outdoor kitchen, and outdoor shower. Start with my outdoor shower because it's the furthest point, and that just kind of helps make sure it's circulated. Now, it's important to remember to do both cold and hot because you want both lines to get antifreeze. So let's turn on the cold first. And all you do is you run it till you see the pink. So white, 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 pink. That easy. Now I do the same with the hot. I just run it until I see pink. Right away. Now I'm doing the outdoor kitchen. Now this is the hose that hooks up to my outdoor sink. If you've been using your sink recently and it has water anywhere in its lines or even in its drainage, you'd want to go ahead and hook it up and run it. That way you know you have antifreeze through the whole thing. I'm just gonna have to run it through the hose because we haven't used our sink in a while. Woo! All over me. So there it goes. Pink as it can be. And all over me. Now that I've done the outside, I'm gonna go ahead and change out my jugs. There's still a little left in that jug. You could probably even do everything. But if you run your pump dry, it can hurt it. Don't want to risk that. And I need a little bit to put down the drains anyway. So I'm just gonna go ahead and swap it out for my second jug. My second jug is now in. So I'm gonna go ahead and run the water here till it's pink, like that, on both hot and cold. Now I'm gonna do the same with my bathroom sink. Pink. Pink. Run a little extra just because I want to go ahead and get that into the drains, the P-traps. I'm going to do the shower, just turn those on all the way up to hot. The thing I'm going to do is flush the toilet until it's pink, put at least a bowl or two of pink in it, drop it down. You never want to leave your black tank dry. So I go ahead and fill it up with a little antifreeze. So now that I've done all that, I have got pink running through from toilets to sinks to showers. Now what I'm going to do is turn off my water pump. I'm going to take my leftover antifreeze and I'm going to go ahead and pour it into all the drains. Make sure the P-traps are flushed out with pink, that there's no water left in them, and that there's some pink in every tank, including the gray tanks. I happen to have a half of a jug left that I'm going to pour down the toilet into the black tank and then leave a little bit in the toilet so it doesn't sit there dry. because you never want to leave your black tank dry, and you always want to have some liquid in your toilet because that's what keeps the gases from coming up. So we do that, we're winterized. I will also go ahead and switch my valve back over to my water pump. That way, when I get ready to de-winterize, all I have to do is run water through everything, and it's cleaned out, ready to go. I don't even have to get down there and mess with it. Will want to keep the hot water bypass though until you're ready to de-winterize, because you don't want to accidentally get antifreeze into your hot water tank. It's not a big deal, it rinses right out, but it's just easier not to. Also blow out your lines with air. I know a lot of people who do this. There's nothing wrong with it. I've done it myself a few times, but even if you do that, you still need to buy some antifreeze because you need to flush out your P-traps and leave your tanks wet. So you want to still pour antifreeze down your drains, even if you're just blowing out your lines.